back to Gulrook's AstroZone, the place where curiosity meets the cosmos. I am your host, Gulrookh, and today we're soaring beyond the stars with a truly inspiring guest. He's not just a former NASA contractor, he's a man who spent over a decade working on humanity's most ambitious space projects, from the Space Shuttle to the International Space Station. He's experienced zero gravity firsthand, collaborated internationally from Moscow to Baikonur Cosmodrome, and now leads the charge to make space accessible to everyone. He's the president and co-founder of the Inspiration 24, an organization born out of the historic Inspiration 4 mission and dedicated to democratizing access to space and sharing the life-changing overview effect. Please welcome to the AstroZone, Andrew Parris. Hi, Andrew.
Thank you very much. Hi, glad to be here.
Amazing. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
I'm doing amazing. Thank you so much. Okay, so I'll start asking questions from you. Is that okay?
Okay.
Okay, so you work with NASA and now lead Inspiration 24. So what first sparked your passion for space exploration?
Oh, that's easy. I was 7 years old. It was 1968. It was Christmas Eve, and the Apollo 8 did their famous Christmas Eve broadcast from around the moon. That's the first time live pictures from the moon were sent. So we got to see. It was black and white and not real high detail, but you could tell it was something. And that's when it hit me. It captured my imagination. My brothers and I had all knew about the space program. We did things like built our own mission controls and stuff like that, and got typewriters and little TVs and stuff like that, and mimicking that stuff. But that really hit me. That I realized that was something I wanted to be involved with, and I was fortunate enough to grow up and get to work for NASA.
Oh my God, that's truly amazing. So can you share a pivotal moment during your time with the Space Shuttle or ISS programs that shifted your perspective?
Ooh, well, that's a tough one. I'm an engineer. I'm a television engineer by trade. So my work with the Space Shuttle was, for at least the first 3 years, was doing shuttle landings out at Edwards Air Force Base. Back then, it was called Dryden Flight Research Center. And I was part of the convoy team that go out and do tile survey, post landing. Document the crew coming off the orbiter, and then we would stay behind and do tile survey. And I think one of the moments that really hit me was because we were there so long, and they were processing the orbiter, getting ready, they would allow people to climb into the orbiter, into the mid deck and the flight deck.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and that really, I mean, you see pictures, and I worked in trainers and so forth, but when you actually climb in the actual hardware, that's a real moment when you realize this is real. When you touch it, it's tactile. Because when you're outside the shuttle on the runway, you can't touch it. The tiles are very sensitive. The tiles. So getting inside and being able to touch things was like really, really mind-blowing at that point.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. Okay. What inspired you to co-found the Inspiration 24? What is the core mission behind it?
Well, it's a very good question. What Inspire 24 started off as a group of us who were the Inspiration 4 contestants. We'd applied to win the seat. And I like to joke I was the next guy in line or whatever. But anyway, so even though we didn't win, we got an invitation to come view the launch. So a bunch of us just kind of connected through social media, met up, and we had a dinner, and we were sitting there all talking. This is the first time we'd seen each other and face to face, and we were able to talk and share experiences. And there was realized, and I just said it out loud. I didn't even think about it. I just said out loud, somebody in this group's going to fly in space. And everybody stopped, and they go, yay, and kind of joking and stuff like that. Well, within a year, one of our members, Ruben Salinas, had won a seat to fly on New Shepard through an organization called Space Plus. And just that moment, we realized we were a special group. And so we stayed connected, and we decided to start a group and got organized and just started doing things like the space flight training with Chase out of the University of Arizona in Tucson, meetups, just anything we can think of. I'm happy to say that we have to date have had one astronaut fly to space. One of our charter members, Dr. Iman Jangahir, flew on New Shepard last August. It was pretty incredible to see a friend get to fly in space. He and I met, even had connected just before the Inspiration 4 mission. So he won the golden ticket from a group called Moon Dow, Check it out if you get a chance, moondow.com. They're doing some real good stuff with space, some hardware. They're actually doing things and getting ready to put hardware in space.
Wow, beautiful. So you've flown on zero gravity flights. What does that experience feel like physically and emotionally? Let's talk about
Oh,
that.
wow. That I'm glad you asked about the emotionally. People ask, do you feel sick and so forth. My experience in zero G flying. So, in the mid '90s, I flew for NASA
Mm-hmm.
on the famous microgravity research aircraft, otherwise known as the Vomit Comet.
Mm-hmm.
I flew for about 2 years, flew about 12 separate flights at about 60 per abs per. My job was to document things that were going on with a camera
Mm-hmm.
because it's television.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, when you look through confused, it sees this nice stable picture, but it feels you're flying around, so you get sick. So I spent a lot of time flying in zero G getting sick, but that was my job.
Mm-hmm.
It was still an amazing experience. It's hard to describe, but it's very addictive. Anyway, fast forward to a couple years ago, I got a chance to fly twice in a couple months commercially on the zero G tourist flights, and I was great because I got to be. It was kind of a bucket list thing anyway, because I wanted to be able to go have fun. I wanted to go do what everybody else got to do, play. And one thing that was interesting, I was really afraid that my body would have forgotten what it's like. If you see the footage from the zero G, there's a lot of flailing early on. People don't know what to do, and their
True,
legs
true. Yes.
and that's something that's a natural feeling. But I'd flown enough that I had developed the ability to to let my legs just go. Don't do anything with legs. Use your hands, move around, whatever. And I was really surprised about. We came off the when they called their first parabola going up. I started to float up, and I kind of bicycle kicked for like a second, and I stopped, and I realized no, I could do this, and the hands, and I got some great video of me flying around and helping other people and stuff like. But it's like I said, it's addictive. I will never turn down a chance to go fly zero G, whether it's on a plane or in space.
Mm-hmm.
And emotionally, it is one of the most. Oh, this is a tough one. It's one of the most serene feelings that a human being can have.
Wow.
Um, it's amazing when you realize when you just stop and feel yourself and you don't worry about whether you're floating or bumping something. You just realize your body is completely free because there's no gravity. A lot of pain. Like I know Don Pettit just came back. He's 70 years old. He's the most oldest active astronaut, and he said when he was up in space, all his aches and pains went away because you don't have gravity pushing down on you. So that's one
Wow.
of the best feelings, and that's just makes me want to go fly orbital space even more.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It feels like really intense. You talked often about the overview effect. So how did you personally encounter this idea and why it is important?
Oh, how did I encounter first? Well, it's kind of one of those things that was that kind of I heard about years ago from author Frank White. He's the one who coined that phrase back in the '80s when the shuttle started first flying. So during like Gemini, Mercury, and Apollo, astronauts were going up and they were busy working all the time. They had very little time to look out the window, and if they did, they didn't have a lot of time to contemplate it. But when the space shuttle started flying, their people were up there for a week to 10 days. They had more time to look out the window. They had more time to um, and a lot of astronauts came back with the feeling, the core change to their way they think about Earth. They looked down on Earth. They didn't see borders. They didn't see countries. They just saw one giant blue ball. And I've heard that so many times. I've done some VR that replicates that effect, and it's quite emotional. Just the VR alone, I've teared up many times watching it, and the thought of getting to go up there that high. I asked my friend Iman, who flew last year. He says it's awe-inspiring, but then it's also you see the edge of the Earth and then the blackness of space. It's he says it's the blackest black, but it's beyond that. It's
Wow.
infinity. Yes. And I look forward to someday experiencing it for myself, whether it's in a space flight
Mhm.
or even balloon rides. A company called Worldview is going to be doing crewed flights to 100,000 feet, and a whole bunch of us on the Inspire 24 are joining up and going to fly together.
Amazing. So that what you're saying is absolutely true because I've also heard the one astronaut told, Nicole Stott, right?
Hmm.
Yes, and she told that we go to space to improve life on Earth. That perspective, the beauty, the fragility, it changes you forever. Well, actually, that really hits me hard though, because we go to space not just to explore the universe, but to better understand our place in it, right? That's why
Right.
that
Absolutely.
was really interesting for me because I really wanted to see the whole Earth from the outer space. It's actually very intense. Okay,
Hmm.
so how
Totally.
did you see the future of spaceflight evolving for civilians and non-traditional astronauts?
Well, that's a great question. It's already happening. I mean, we've got our tourist
Mm.
flights now. People remember there was the first all-female multi-person crew
Katy
flying
Perry, I
weeks
saw that. Yes,
with Katy
yes.
Perry and Gail Faye. Amanda Wynn, who flew, was probably the most
Mm.
unreported but the most remarkable human being I've ever met.
Wow.
She was a Times Magazine's Woman of the Year in 2022, and she was a
Mm.
Nobel Peace Prize nominee. The work she's done is amazing. Yeah, it's only looking brighter. I mean, you talk about the tourist flights now, and that's a lot of people. Sometimes people criticize, well, that's just for the millionaires. Well, when the
Mm-hmm.
automobile was air travel, it was always the rich that did it first. It helps open the gateway. It's just part of the natural process. But further down the road, yeah, commercial space is the going to be the norm here 15, 20 years. NASA's role has always been to be on the cutting edge of
Mm.
exploration. And once they've gotten there, they hand it off, and that's how it works. Um, and you're going to have things like I know my kids, my grandchildren will just to just to be a NASA astronaut or whatever, but they'll have a job that could be on a commercial space station, and they'll go spend 6 months in that space station working,
Wow.
and that become normal. And vacations, like I know all the major resorts and hotel companies and Disney are all looking at the options for doing space hotels and space type based.
That's truly
It's
amazing.
endless. The possibilities are endless. And I'm a little upset that I wish I had more time. I'm 63, so I figured I got about 20 more years of this. I really wish I could live longer or had been born a little bit. But if I was born later, then I would have missed the Apollo missions, and that all
Oh yeah.
inspiration. That's something else. I volunteer at Space Center Houston here in Houston. It's the visitor center.
Mm-hmm.
Do is to go stand by the Saturn V rocket, which we have out at Rocket Park, and it's a flight ready, flight certified Saturn V rocket that was parts and pieces from Apollo's 18, 19, and 20, which were the canceled missions. But because there's a railing around it so people can't get up and touch it, but they allow me inside the railing so I can stand with my back to it and talk to people. And that is my most favorite thing to do when I volunteer because I get to talk to people, kids, adults. You'd think the kids would be the most excited, but I've run into a few adults that could give the kids a run for their money, especially older ones and kind of in my age group who grew up in it, and it was something they fantasized or dreamed about when they were younger, and
Mm-hmm.
then later in life they get a chance to come visit the Space Center, and it's just a joy to talk to these people about space and anything about space.
Yes, absolutely. So, one goal of the Inspiration 24 is democratizing the space. So, what does that mean in practical terms?
Oh, that's a fabulous question. So democratizing space means space is for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a concept that has been around for quite a while. The whole concept of humankind moving off the planet is something that people have dreamt of for centuries. But it's going to require the support of everyone on the planet. Can't be just a small group. I mean, we had governments flying to space, and now it's becoming commercial. And so democratizing space means that everyone has a chance to fly, and not just when you say everyone, you have to include everyone, and that's one of the things we talk about. Like I work with a group called Astro Access, which is working to make space accessible to people with physical handicaps, blind, deaf,
Wow.
missing limbs, something like that. And I got to fly one of those zero G flights I talked about from a couple of years ago. Was it as an Astro Access flight, and helping them to do the hard work to prove that people uh, differently abled people can
Mm-hmm.
go to space. And that's, to me, that just means the world. I mean, I say it this way, I'm getting a little emotional here. To make space, to make the promise of our future happen, you have to allow everyone a chance to go. Now, it doesn't mean everybody wants to go. In fact, if the one of the sayings we talk about is if you go someplace, grocery store or whatever, get 5 or 6 hands. If you're lucky, 10. So not everybody wants to go to space, but we want to make it so everyone who does want to go to space can go to space. So kids can grow up and when they realize in their 8, 9, 10, 11, hey, I want to go to space. I want to go work in space. That they can take that career path and it would just happen. There'll be no impediment other than just going to school, doing the hard work and doing the work and putting themselves out there to do it. And that's the thing I like to tell people. If you have a dream, whether it's going to space, whatever your dream is, you will never achieve that dream unless you put it out there, unless you tell people about it, unless you say, hey, I want to do this. I mean, that's something I learned with the Inspiration 4 mission.
Amazing. Yeah.
Tell people about it. If I talk about it, then that's where I've gone to this.
Amazing. That's fascinating. Okay. How can young people from underrepresented regions, like maybe Central Asia or maybe South Asia, get involved in space or STEM fields?
Oh, wow. Well, first part's kind of easy. It's just get an education, go to college, pick something that interests you, whether it's engineering or science or medicine or whatever, and then get your schooling in, and then start applying. Talk to anybody about space. Groups like our group, we have not only do we help people, our primary goal is helping people achieve their dream of spaceflight, but we've also had members within our group who've just moved into the aerospace community as their career. We have multiple members like that, and where we're not instrumental in helping them, we do encourage them. And so, connecting with groups like Inspire 24 and other groups, we do a lot of networking, and that's kind of the big thing that the backbone of our group is networking. So just make friends, talk to people. Like I said, put your dream out there, and people will be willing. You'd be surprised how willing people are willing to help when you put that out there. When you say, "This is what I want to do," and they go, "Great, let's go figure out how to do that."
Mm-hmm. That's right. Thank you. So, for example, me, I come from Uzbekistan and study science in Malaysia in my foundation degree right now. So, what can I do now to become a just future astronaut or contributor to the space industry? Like, I'm planning to study electrical engineering in the bachelor's degree, and then I wanted to just study aerospace engineering in my master's and PhD, and then will I be able to work in the space industry with this degrees as a engineer? For example,
Sure.
private, for example, SpaceX or Exim or Blue Origin,
Yeah.
maybe.
And here's a good piece of advice when you've got your schooling, you of course you want to apply to every and all company that you can even imagine. But you don't necessarily have to aim for the SpaceX and the Blue Origins. There are so many more smaller companies that are a great place to start, and then you can work your way up. I've experienced the emotional roller coaster of applying to SpaceX and Blue Origin. But yeah, don't be afraid to look at the smaller companies, the ones that are building the components or whatever interests you. But definitely apply. Like I said, applying for a job is like putting your dream out there. You have to do it, and ask people for help, for mentoring. They love to help.
Thank you so much. So, what non-technical skills like communication, mindset, or curiosity are valuable in space careers? What do you think?
Oh, absolutely, all those things. Curiosity is the best part because curiosity. So you ask a question, and that's something I tell school kids: is you got to don't be afraid to ask questions. That's the basis of knowledge. How you develop your how does this work? What does that do? That kind of thing. Yeah, just communication skills. Also, don't be. I don't know if you've ever heard the term called imposter syndrome.
No.
Okay, so what imposter syndrome is somebody when you achieve a certain level, but you feel like you don't deserve to be there. It's something that happens to adults later in life. I myself am a victim of that. And because you get to this point where you didn't think you'd ever be. And then
Mm-hmm.
you think, "Hey, somebody's going to figure out I don't know what I'm talking about." But in fact, you do. And a lot of my friends I've made, Mike Mongo, Dr. Sion Proctor, Dr. Iman Jangahir, all the folks at the Inspired 24 have helped me realize that when you get somewhere, you got there because you deserved to be there. And so
Mm-hmm.
to never step back, never give in to that fear. Always remember you've got where you've got where you are from hard work, and that's the key is hard work, doing the work.
Amazing. So, what's one habit or mindset that helped you succeed in your career?
Oh, I'm not a perfectionist, but I like things to be done. I'm as a television engineer, I deal with a lot of technical
Mm-hmm.
equipment, television as a whole, but also I deal with clients, people that I'm working for, networks, TV stations, whatever. And one of the important things is to communicate with them to make sure they're getting what they want,
Mm-hmm.
and that's kind of what drives me is making sure the client has what they want, and that's just part of the industry. But like I said, I'm not being too much of a perfectionist. It's all about teamwork too. Teamwork is a very important part of it.
True. Amazing. So, what does space mean to you in one word? What do you
Ooh,
think?
wow, this is gonna be a tough one. One word. Future.
The future.
Not just future, but the future, yeah. To me,
Amazing.
that's what space is. When I think about space, I think about the future. And
Mm-hmm.
I remember as a kid thinking about it and thinking, and I
Beautiful.
realized, it's endless. It's the possibilities are endless. And I had for the longest dream, for the longest time, I had two dreams that stuck with me. And that's something else. People don't talk about their dreams enough. When you talk about your dream of flying in space, that's
Mm-hmm.
this nebulous thing out there. But when you hear other people talking about it, it's pretty emotional to realize that other people have
That's right.
that have stuck with me for years. I think I had them 20 years ago. The first dream was this is when I was working at NASA,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm in my dream. It's dark. I can't see, but I can hear someone speaking Russian, and it's air to ground. It's like the International Space Station. I can hear it, and I open my eyes and I realize I'm in a spacesuit. I can hear air. I can hear myself breathing, and I can see my hands. I'm doing hand over hand, and that's outside the space station. And as I look up, I see the vista of the Earth out in front of me, and it's this
Wow.
that's a space. And I realize I'm in a Russian Orlan spacesuit, EVA suit, doing an
Mm-hmm.
EVA, and I'm making my way down a handrail, and I turn a corner and so forth. And that has just been so real to me. And my second dream was I am in a spacesuit. I'm outside. I'm working on some satellite, and I've got a checklist, and I've got tools, and I'm doing something. And all of a sudden, I hear this like a phone ringing,
Uh-huh.
and I look down at my what they say cuff checklist on spacesuits. They have a thing here, but it's a screen and it's a phone call. I have an incoming phone call from my dad. And my dad for years would always call every week to check in. And so I
Wow.
answered, "Dad, how you doing? Oh, how you doing, son? What are you up to?" "Well, I'm up here working on this satellite and I'm making it repair." "Oh, that's fantastic." It's something that's very very near and dear to me is to talk to my dad every week. Those two things stick with me.
Oh my gosh, that's very fascinating. Okay, if you could send one message to Earth from orbit, what would it be?
I'm sorry, you broke up on that. Say that again.
Okay, if you could send one message to Earth from orbit, what would it be?
Oh, one message.
One message.
One message. My message would be unity.
Unity.
We have one planet,
Mm-hmm.
we have one home, and we all need to get along and we need to take care of it. And I think sharing the overview effect with as many people as possible is the most important thing we could do. Because as soon as they get up there, people get up there and they see the world and they have that fundamental change, that shift in their thinking that the planet Earth is our home and we need to take care of it. And the more people who see that, and it's not just regular people, but politicians, business leaders, things like that, people like that, when they start seeing, you can see a huge change in the way that we take care of Earth.
Amazing. Wow. Okay. What can we expect from the Inspiration 24 in this next few years? And are there any upcoming missions or collaborations?
Oh gosh, we're always trying something. Well, we're kind of a ragtag group. We're kind of self-funded and so forth, so we do what we can. But we're continuing with our space flight training. That's something
Mhm.
we're near and dear to us. We have an innovation department. We're starting to look into innovation and help develop new technologies and new products and anything we can think of.
Mhm.
Educational cooperations. We're looking for some grants and so forth to help with that. Like space, it's kind of possibilities are endless.
Amazing. So the last question. So what advice do you have for students who dream of becoming astronaut but don't know where to start?
Oh, that's a great question. Great place to start is any local science museum, any
Mhm.
university or college, high school in the science and engineering department. Just find something that inspires you,
Mhm.
a subject matter, whatever, and learn, and find other people. Look out
Mhm.
and connect with them and talk to them and talk to as many people as possible and share your enthusiasm.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Andrew. I appreciate everything that you told to me. I've learned a lot and I got really great insights from you, and I'll keep doing and I'll just follow your footsteps. Thank you so much for all the amazing experiences that you shared with us today. It was really such an amazing and unforgettable podcast for me. I was a little bit, anxious today because of you, because NASA contractor, talking with NASA contractor is just a whole new thing for me. But I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. I enjoyed talking.
Thank you so much.